Walk with me.
Oh, sing unto Yahweh, Tata and Zambi. That means our Father. A new song. Sing unto the I Am all the earth. Sing unto the I Am. Bless his name. Show forth his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among the heathens, his wonders among all people. For the Yah Allah is great and greatly to be praised. That means I am God. He is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the I Am made the heavens. Honor and majesty are before him. Strength and beauty are his sanctuary. Give unto the I Am, ye kindreds of the people. Give unto the I Am glory and strength. Give unto the I Am the glory due to his name. Bring an offering and come unto his courts. Oh, worship the I Am in the beauty of holiness. Fear before him all the earth. Say to the heathen that God reigns. Yahuwah reigneth. The world also shall be established, that it shall not be moved. He shall judge the people righteously. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth be glad. Let the sea roar and the fullness thereof. Let the fear be joyful and all that is therein. Then shall all the trees of the wood rejoice. Before the I Am, for he cometh to judge the earth. He shall judge the world with righteousness and the people with his truth. Psalms chapter 96. Deliver me from evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me in my seat forever, that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20, a prayer of Abram. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on this platform and shared platforms. I'm T. Clay, and you're walking with Mr. Clay. Yes. And we thank God for all that you've done. And also, we thank God for those of you with a hand clap of praise. We thank God for those of you who have come and joined us since the beginning and followed. And we thank the Most High for those of you who have came after that and here and there's about. And we thank God for those of you who have just subscribed or followed. Yes, we praise God for you and thank you that you decided to deal with your soul. And we thank God for those of you that are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. Hallelujah. Glory to the Most High, even he whose name is holy. Yes. Now, we've just played Nislima. His name is Isaiah Katumwa. Isaiah Katumwa. Yes, and he has an album called Dance Again. Dance Before the Most High. You notice how some of you look at on the continent of Africa, how they put their hands out sort of like that and just bow down. I don't know what God they're bowing down to, but if you do that same dance and just as you are in your prayer or your praise before the Most High, just sort of bow down with your hands up and, you know, just stepping around and just glorifying God, even if you just got a tambourine or a drum, a hand drum in your hand, or you're just listening to a praise song, you know, whether it's rap or whatever type of genre of instrumentality you have, just praising God with your hands wide open, head bowed down, and just noticing how great Yahweh, Yahuwah, Tata Nzambi, even Sanini Nanini, how great he is. Great, great is our God. Power that created all the earth. Yes, we're in the book of Jasher. Yes, the book of Jasher. The book of Jasher, and that is I believe we was in the 76th chapter. We ended in the 76th chapter, about to go into the 77th chapter of the book of Jasher. Yes, and we ended at verse 57, and we notice how the king stank when they buried him after he died, because God detested this king of Egypt. He detested it. Before God even dealt with him, he had evil thoughts, because he employed the services of Balaam and his brothers, his family, because they were always welcomed in Egypt. And this Balaam was nothing but named himself after a devil. And in this book of Jasher and Jubilees, after the flood, there was one who was chief among these fallen spirits. His name started with an N, is Nashim or something like that, but either way, he changed his name. This is the same person. But it's all by auspices of the Most High, because he did that to draw you away from himself, to see how your heart is. If you're determined to serve the Most High, the only way you can deal with these devils, you have to hide the word of the Most High in your heart. You have to hide it, his laws, statutes, or just if you don't read no other book but just Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomies, and Numbers, you have done a great deal and study those books and know the things of those books. Some of it might not pertain to you, but most of it does, because it deals with what pleases God, and it deals with the measure of love that we have for God. What is the outward measure? What is the work of love before God? What is our conduct that we should conduct toward our neighbors that is fair? Might not be conventional, but it's fair, even to the point where eye for eye, tooth for tooth, life for life. These are fair things before the Most High. And sometimes you cannot get vengeance for yourself, but God says vengeance belongs to him. That's not really what people that are saying these things are. This is that slave talk to docile you, so that you will not stand up for yourself before the I am. But the fact is that we have to really deal with God. Let's get all that out the way. But either way, to docile you, because God is tough according to these Christian standards. So to some, God is evil to the liberal person, to one that walks with smelling good and half dressing and half man and woman attire, unisex. I'll just put it that way. You get the message. God is evil to them. God is evil to the evil, because they do not understand, neither do they want to know God. But your mission in life is to understand and know God. And the only way you can really understand him and his power and his anointing and his holiness is through his law, statutes, ordinances, and commandments. Yes. Now, we're in chapter 76 of the book of Jasher, and we ended at verse 58. And at verse 58, he strengthened himself, and he ordered his son Adikam to be brought to him, and they made him king over the land in his place. King of who? Egypt. Now, at the end of these 3 years, the king died in shame, disgrace, and disgust. This is what God is going to do to every one of the children of your slavers, those who torment you. I'm just even talking about those of you up there in Egypt, and you Arabs that sit up there and put down the nannies of the children of Arab because they have no help. Their leaders have become puppets. Their leaders have become just nasty toward their people. They hate them. They're only selfish for their own selfish greed. Do not care about the children. They do not care about anyone. All they care about is what the West can give and put into their pockets. They sell their land and sell everything out from their people. They do not even have the authority to do such thing. But yes, your day is coming. I don't care how much you believe in Allah or Muhammad. This king died in what? In shame, you shall die in shame, disgrace, and disgust. And your servants is not going to even carry you out. Going to lay your stinking, nasty carcass upon the ground. Let it rot for the ravens to eat. This is how evil you are, and you call it righteousness. I'm better than you because you're black. Yes, it angers me. It angers me hard. He not only there, but here in the United States, where you had one of the people, Caucasian couple, they adopted some black children and they had a farm. You can fact check it all you want because it's right there, right on this here channel that you're listening to. And what they did to those children, they put them in chains. Some of them were even teenagers. But they made them, enslaved them inside on the farm or their plantation. Oh, this probably was a big thrill to their neighbors. Oh, they have slaves. But they did it in a way. And the law said they were human trafficking and involuntary work. Why don't you just say it was just illegal slavery? Then you got into prisons where illegal slavery is going on with the prison industrial complex, that they service corporations and different things for hire. Slavery, trying to keep up with what we just read in the book of Jubilees. These people know these scriptures. Don't fool yourself, and that you are lower than them. Yeah, I speak unto, and there are those who traffic their own and different things for sex and their own gratification. But the black man, you want them all to be Hamites. You want them all to be Canaanites, and not so. God is going to take his vengeance upon you and your children. And if you were the children still benefiting from those who were before you, who've caused these atrocities, I don't care whether you were black or any other hue, he's going to take it out on you too. Let us continue. And they buried him in the sepulchre of the kings of Egypt in Zon Misraim. Misraim was the name of their father. It's the same with those of you who think about when you think about the artifacts and things down in the United States. It's Misraim. Misraim is the name that the Hebrews would say. Misraim, the United States belonged to, this part of the United States belonged to Misraim. It sure did. You notice they dwelt in the desert parts, the hot parts. So it was not too hot, not too cold, down in the Grand Canyon. They built caves down there. And then along the trail, you see there was the pyramids that they built. But they also built pyramids down in South America. This was something. But these pyramids were nothing. Many times they were just sepulchres. They were just how they built their graves. But most of them, they ransacked them. The grave robbers, the thieves, came in somebody's grave site, and they stole, or about to steal, even those in the Grand Canyon, about to steal everything they can find. This is why they lock it off, because of thievery. But God allowed that. He allowed it. Because he's allowed it that his vengeance might become so vehement. A nuclear bomb cannot even explain it. The wrath of the Most High. But let us continue, before I get going too much. But they embalmed him not, for it was usual with kings, for his flesh was putrid. Ooh, stinky. This is something that you cannot stand. Have you ever smelt a man or a woman that died of leprosy with great sores upon him, busting? This is the same thing I said before, like Job. But Job did not die because God wouldn't allow the Satan to take his life. In other words, there was life in him. Separation. That's what death means. Your separation, spirit from life. But the spirit is not named death. Its name is not separation. That's just what they use to, should I say, how they say it, to substitute for something they don't know. Okay. Now, and they could not approach to embalm him on account of the stench, so they buried him in haste. In other words, this man stank, man, trying to put, I mean, you take some type of ointment and put it in your nose or something like that to try to keep from the stench. If you ever been in war or been among these war-torn countries and you had to smell the stench of those whose rotting corpses are on the ground, it's not a good deal. But they're not in that body. But the fact is, you take that body and you send it on. It's because, you know, most of us, we're superstitious anyway, as far as those of darker hue. For this evil was from the I am to him, for the I am had requited him evil for the evil, which in his days he had done to Israel. But they did not acknowledge this. They did not see this, just like many of you who die hideous deaths of disease and sickness and calamity and all kinds. You do not acknowledge God in all your ways and all the things that occurs. But it's going to be pumped up. Your demise is going to be pumped up because of your evil toward those who are darker. You, God have hidden his children among them, and you hate them. This is a devil. Don't you know you have a devil in you? I don't care if you call yourself Christian. Don't you know you got a demon that is drawing you away from God to Jesus Christ? To calling yourself an Arab of the Islamic faith, whether you're a Shiite or Sunni, doesn't matter. When you hate, you detach yourself from God, especially when you hate those who are hidden among those that of other nations, to try to hide until he's ready for them. Now, we're going to continue a little bit further. 61, verse 70, chapter 76 and verse 61. For this evil was from the I am to him. That's what he says. God had gotten vengeance on this Pharaoh for what he allowed and what he done. And he suffered greatly. Like he suffered even worse than Job in that he died. Only thing that Job had that Job could even deal with was the fact that he was trying to amend, or should I say repent from his sin. And in that he became meticulous in the way he would do things to please God. And he became perfect because of that. And he died with terror and with shame, and his son Adikam reigned in his place. This was a black man. Yes, he was. Adikam was 20 years old when he reigned over Egypt, and he reigned 4 years. And in the 206 years of Israel going down to Egypt, Adikam reigned over Egypt, but he continued not so long in his reign over Egypt as his father had continued their reigns. 200. Okay, Adikam, 200 years. Okay, he had continued their reigns. Verse 3 in chapter 77. For Meo, his father, reigned 94 years in Egypt, but he was 10 years sick and died. For he had been wicked before the I am. See, God is buying time here. These people mean nothing to the Most High because their heart is wicked anyway. They're drawn away by devils. And all the Egyptians called the name of Adikam Pharaoh, like the name of his fathers, as was their custom to do in Egypt. And all the wise men of Pharaoh called the name of Adikam Ahuz, or Ahuz. For short, it's called Ahuz in the Egyptian language. And you will find that on your hieroglyphs. And Adikam was exceedingly ugly. They're calling somebody ugly. That's what he said. Adikam was ugly. He was not a good-looking man, not to a man, neither a woman. For he was a cubit and a span, and he had a great beard. Long beard. Probably Egyptian style, what you see. This black man had some stuff. And he reached to the soles of his feet. And Pharaoh sat upon his father's throne and to reign over Egypt, and he conducted the government of Egypt in his wisdom. And while as he reigned, he exceeded his father in all proceedings, kings, and wickedness, and he increased his yoke. Now this is where the wickedness of Egypt came about. all kind of laying with your wives and laying with your mothers and your sisters and all this other sexual things that they did, and animals and all manner of things. You women, some of you, I feel I can't point you out, but the fact is beware. You're being watched. God see you. Animals, not just men doing that. A lot of you women are doing it, thinking you get away with it, but God sees you in your very act. Animals. It's not no racial barrier. It's not a walk of life barrier. All walks of life, they're doing this thing. You lay down or you kneel before an animal and do the things that you do. Evil before the Most High. And some of you are even married. Have a husband. But you rather deal with an animal. In Israel, that calls for deletion once you're caught. But God has your number. Don't worry about it. And Pharaoh sat upon his father's throne to reign over Egypt, and he conducted the government of Egypt in his wisdom. And while as he reigned, he exceeded his father in all the proceedings, kings and wickedness, and he increased his yoke over the children of Israel. And he went with his servants to Goshen to the children of Israel. And he strengthened the labor over them, and he said unto them, complete your work each day's task, and let not your hands slacken from our work from this day forward, as you did in the days of my father. And he placed officers over them from amongst the children of Israel, and over these officers he placed taskmasters from amongst his servants. And he placed over them a measure of bricks for them to do according to that number day by day. And he turned back and went to Egypt. And at that time the taskmasters of Pharaoh ordered the officers of the children of Israel according to the commandment of Pharaoh, saying, thus say Pharaoh, do your work each day and finish your task, and observe the daily measure of bricks, and diminish not anything. Now, we've read this in the 66 books. If you read the 66 books, if you read the 4 books of those 4 books of Moses, which contain the law, some of you can talk out of the side of your head and then sit up there and you heard somebody say something and it's wrong because it's not according to what's supposed to be there. Out of context, out of line, and lying. Thus, says Pharaoh, do your work each day, finish your task, and observe the daily measure of bricks. Diminish not anything. And it shall come to pass that if you are deficient in your daily bricks, I will put your young children in their stead. And the taskmasters of Egypt did so in those days as Pharaoh has ordered them. And whenever any deficiency was found in the children of Israel's measures of their daily bricks, the taskmasters of Pharaoh would go to the wives of the children of Israel and take infants of the children of Israel to the number of bricks deficient, and they would take them by force from their mother's laps and put them in the building instead of the bricks. In other words, they're going to lay bricks on top of the children. These were big bricks now. But yet this brick was laid and the child was laid dead. Murder. Because they thought the children of Israel. See, the curse that you're looking at is just God's wrath upon Jacob. It's not Ham. Ham is not cursed. Canaan was cursed. And it's not forever that this curse shall be. Because the children of Jacob are stiff-necked. Look at today, twerking everywhere, doing all kind of crazy things instead of crying out unto the Most High. And once the children of Jacob, if a great number of them start to cry out. See, this is why you have Christianity deceiving you. This is why some of you who call yourself Hebrew Israelites and you still go according to that New Testament idolatry. You're still going through stuff. And you find out your prayers are not heard. You only receive that honor which come from one another, your pastor or your church affiliates or your congregational affiliates, instead of that thing that comes from God. See, one thing about God, he will put you by yourself to test you. And you see, this is your calling. When God calls you, this is how you get chose, by yourself. You land with your brother's wife and you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite. In real Israel, you will be deleted, period. No ifs, ands, and buts. And it will not be delayed. at the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let everything be established. And if they lie, they're going to die the same death. You just dead. Either way, God will be glorified. And if you're found to be innocent, God will redeem you. Yes, he will. Now, and they will be demised and put into the lowest hell. Now, he says, and the taskmasters of Egypt did so in those days as Pharaoh had ordered them. And whenever a deficiency was found, he's talking about the children. This is hard. Now, verse 17, whilst their fathers and mothers were crying over them and weeping when they heard the weeping voices of their infants in the wall of the buildings, and the taskmasters prevailed over Israel, that the Israelites should place their children in the building, so that the man placed his son in the wall and put mortar over him while his eyes wept over him. His tears ran down upon his child. Now here you are, one man outnumbered by a number of people, out weaponry. This is what happens to you. This is what's with the darker people here today. You're outnumbered. In the United States, you're outnumbered. In other lands, you're brought to the land where you're outnumbered. They sneak and people turn you in different countries of Africa. Even your own African brother will take you and turn you in for a shilling or a naira. Nothing. And then he would liaison with another man and all these, and then you're taken to their land and you're enslaved. Only thing they will give you is bread and water just to keep you alive, to keep doing what they have enslaved you for. But God's way, why am I saying this? Because number one, I heard it. Number two, it's come to when God reveals something, it's come to his mind and he's about to do something. Whether he reveals it through social media or whatever way, he's about to do something. Some of those people that you call yourself doing these things to, they are children of Jacob. And you're going to pay. I'm not going to feel sorry. Well, you think I feel sorry for what's going over there in that, what you call it, they call the 1948 land? I don't feel sorry for either side. I don't feel sorry for the white side or the other white side. I do not feel sorry for them. Neither their children, really. Because the fact is, their ancestors have taken over and they have made themselves more than what they are over the children of Jacob. They even done that over the children of Ham. Maybe it's by God that God did that, but you should humble yourself. If God gives you authority over a people, you should humble yourself. Just like he did in the captivity of the Persians. They humbled themselves. And God showed what he would do to them when the people prayed. All right, on the continent, it's time for you to start praying, fasting, praying for your young women, your young men who's taken to other countries for slavery, bought and sold by your own people, or those who you think are your people. Then your governments. Not only your government is wrong, but all over the world. Except I can say that there's 2 governments, they have their ways, but they've proven themselves more righteous than, or 3, more righteous than the other governments. Those other governments are hideous and nasty. These not even Western governments. It's something else. We're about to wrap this up. And it says now, Israel, for many days, no one pitied or had compassion over the babies of the children of Israel. Same thing here in the United States when they did this. Africa, when if you ever watched the movie Tears of the Sun, they never had any pity over the women that they cut their nipples off and split their stomachs open just to get the babies. If this is bad for you, then I want you to just keep scrolling or cut it off. Go. Because I'm talking some hard stuff here. And the number of all the children killed in the building was 270, some whom had built upon instead of bricks. Not only that, even in the Congo. These people come from other lands that are greedy for gold and uranium and cobalt. God got your number. I don't care if you're black, white, Arab looking, Eastern, Asian, or whatever. God is going to put something on your head and put a terror and a fear in you that's coming soon. I ain't talking about no rapture either. It's coming soon. And you Asians, you're going to curse your own country. I mean, your government is doing a great thing, but you're going to curse your own country by your own greed. You're going to curse them. Even your Buddha, it can't help you. Now, and the number of all the children killed in the building, which had been left deficient by their father, some whom they had drawn out dead from the building. That was verse 20. And the labor imposed upon the children of Israel in the days of Adikam exceeded in hardship that which they performed in the days of his father. See, God was angry at them too now. And the children of Israel sighed every day on account of their heavy work, for they had said to themselves, behold, when Pharaoh shall die, his son will rise up. And you think that these, should I say, these people from Europe have suffered something like this? They couldn't even suffer like this in Germany. I mean, that's like putting your Easter's on a cross and having just a drip of blood going down, according to what have happened to the children of Jacob. You cannot even call yourself the children of Jacob. You can never compare. Not by skin color, neither by your hair, nothing, nor by your experiences. You cannot compare. And the children of Israel sighed every day on account of their heavy work. For they had said to themselves, behold, when Pharaoh shall die, his son will rise up and lighten our work. In other words, you having hope in man. See, this is what God got on who? God got on Joseph about. Joseph was looking forward to being delivered. He cried to his mother. He cried to all these people. He wanted to be delivered by man, and God made it even worse on him. When he trusted one of the chief bakers, or either one of them, he had called himself, I'm coming from the same book that I'm reading. Joseph had called himself to be trusting in him. Oh, remember me when you get before Pharaoh. God got angry. You don't trust no man to deliver you, not the judge, not the president, not the ruler, not the king, nothing. Some of you say, for God I live, for God I die. Many of you are a liar. When pressure's brought to bear, you will back up and cower like a coward. Because the pressure will be too much for you. Until you get into your heart and hide what God has put in trust and confidence in what he said. And if death should take you, you still gonna smile. Like my great grandmother, she was on her deathbed and she began to praise God. And she haven't even suffered nearly what these people are suffering. Not even the least. To die in a sickness is nothing. But when you die because of hideous pain and agony and torment to get your mind off the Most High, you think just because you can't pay your light bill, you having problems. That's the least of your problem, brother. You made the bill at least. Thank God you was able to make that bill to keep yourself cool or heated up at one time. But either way, it says now in verse 23, but they increased the latter work more than the former, and the children of Israel sighed at this, and they cried, ascended to God on account of their labor. And God heard the voice of the children of Israel, and their cry in those days. God remembered to them his covenant, which he had made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But he had to prepare these people. They were pagans, stiff-necked. He already knew this from their inception. And God saw the burden of the children of Israel and their heavy work in those days, and he determined to deliver them. And Moses, the son of Amram, was still confined in the dungeon in those days in the house of Reuel, the Midianite. And Zipporah, the daughter of Reuel, did support him with food secretly day by day, and Moses was confined in the dungeon in the house of Ruel. Now we're about to go into the change. This is what God is getting ready to do. Deliverance. Not because you can't get a job. It's because of the things that they're doing. God is preparing you. Preparation is not like what you think it is. Look, read, listen. It is not easy at all. It's not easy. Do not trust in man. I don't care how much he promised you, smile in your face, or pat you on your back. It means nothing. Or how much he gives you amnesty or relief from your agony. Nothing. Have you not even read in these 400 years, these so-called Caucasian Christians have put and said they were 400 years of darkness? They were years where they were killing your ancestors left and right. They just didn't want to hear it. During the Greek Inquisition. Now, we're not even talking about the Inquisition of the Spaniards and Portuguese. We're not even getting to that yet. You just don't know. God's preparing you. He prepared a lot of them that died in tribulation and trouble. Now you are being prepared. But yet now you're being softened up. Give you air conditioning and heat and give you all these nice clothes, and you girls and you women have all that lipstick, and oh, you can smell so good. Eventually you'll be a stink. Meat for the fires of hell, because you decide you want to play the harlot along with your captors. Even you men misuse and mistreat your women, distrust because you have been taken. Even with the same thing of their temptations, best to just, if you can't find one that suits you, leave them alone. Let them go to hell, not you like Adam did. Let them be tormented, because you is to whom God is talking to many times. And with that, we're going to say, study that word, study that law. Let it dwell in you richly. And with that, we're going to say peace.
Walk with me.